As per usual, first gonna jump into kind of just last episode we talked about All Star Weekend, some of our predictions, and now we're gonna see how they came into fruition. So we'll start off with that. Anywhere you want to start first, or you want to just go in the events that they as they occurred. Like I think it was skills first, and then 3 point, and then we can say dunk.
Yeah.
I'll start. Okay, so skills. Demontis Sabonis won. The person who I wanted second most to win, I believe. I forgot. Did I pick Julius to win it? Did I really think, or was that
Yep. You
okay?
picked Julius.
Okay, well, of course, there's no shame in losing to the champ first round. Hard to do, but yeah, Demontis Sabonis wins. The big boys just keep the streak going. I don't know if you I didn't watch the event. I missed the event. That's one that actually, but I obviously saw the highlights and stuff. And man, it was just great to see Shaq rooting for all the big guys. When he was going talking about Vucevic, he's like anyone whose name ends with IC is a great shooter. Vucevic, Stojakovic. He started listing them off a bunch of European guys. But yeah, good for Sabonis, get a little recognition. And I mean, I didn't expect Vucevic to make it to the finals, especially beating out Chris Paul. Chris Paul ended up missing a layup that cost him. It's funny because as he was going up for that layup, they were like, he's missed a layup before, and he missed the layup, and then Vucevic, it was over from there. But yeah, any just quick thoughts, reactions in regards to that event?
I didn't watch it, so
Okay,
I
so
can't really, give a whole lot of insight into it. But it's always great when a big man wins. I was hoping Vucevic would. I think I said that on that episode. If anybody could win, that it was up to me. I'd want it to be Vucevic or Robert Covington,
yeah,
because he kind of came out of nowhere. But uh, they did not. But Vucevic, he made it far. So there you go.
yeah, I did watch like the intro, like for each person. It was funny because like for everyone else that had them like passing or shooting or dribbling, and Robert Covington, it was just him getting a steal and then like I was like just throwing it down the court on like a fast break. That was it. I was like, okay. Then once again, not to diminish his skills, but I just thought probably should have. I feel like it didn't really. They probably had to dive pretty deep to find, and they just kind of gave up and said, "We'll just everyone knows if he's good for defense. We'll just throw that in there. That's fine." Um, Fortunately, not much on that. I mean, like I said, Luca. Surprised. I thought at least either Luca or Chris Paul would at least be in the final, and it seemed like, and obviously neither one did. Granted, it's just a contest, and I imagine, yeah, I think they were both pretty lax about it. I think Luca missed like the pass, the chest pass, so kind of like how I somewhat predicted. But yeah, in regards to that one, congrats on Demotis' bonus. A little bit of respect there. Obviously, Vucevic, runner up. Going on to the next one, probably the best event out of the just the main three, like we kind of foresaw. 3 point contest, however, didn't really go exactly the way we wanted to. We made fun of Mike Conley. Once again, the pod curse is real. I mean, he almost won it too. And believe I don't think either of us picked Steph, right? I think we both kind of brushed off Steph. Didn't think he would try that hard. So and I made sure I tweeted I tweeted at Steph Curry at the time. I'm sorry for forgetting about you. Um, I'm really just respecting you, but yeah, him and Mike Conley make it. I think to the finals. I believe Tatum put up some good numbers, but just couldn't get there. And then Donovan Mitchell and the others didn't do so well. I mean, they obviously didn't make it far, but yeah, Steph put on a show, won by 1 point. Uh, so yeah, I mean, I'm not sure. I did manage to watch that live. I think I missed Levine's run. I think he was first. I missed the first him and like Jalen, and I think yeah, I missed like the first two people going, but I saw the highlights later. But your thoughts on what occurred, and yeah, and thoughts on Steph going off.
Um, we should have saw it coming. It's Steph Curry. Also, he said afterwards, "This is for Klay Thompson."
Yeah,
Should have saw that coming because Clay's hurt, and he probably would have been in that contest again if he was healthy. Um, but Steph did what he does. His first round was just crazy. He put up, I think, 31 points, and Chris Webber and all of them, Dwayne Wade, they're all freaking out about how like this is how you put the fear in your opponent's eyes. Like next round, you're gonna see they're all gonna get in slumps because of this. And the first round, Levine didn't look very impressive. Mitchell, Brown, none of them did. Tatum put up like 25 points, and then Conley had a pretty solid one. I think he
Mike
had like
Conley. He made like I think he made all of
24.
his on his money rack.
Yeah. And his money rack wasn't even in the corners, which they brought up like,
It
some
was
guys
right in
would
the
say
middle,
put
I
it in the
think.
corner. Yeah, they would say put it in the corner because that's the shortest spot, but he was dead center. and he was drilling them. So then that last round, Tatum, had a horrible round. I think he had like 17, and then Conley came out swinging, put up 27,
Yeah.
and it was like, shoot, Conley might win this thing. I think he even messaged you or somebody saying like Conley might mess around and win this thing all of a
Yeah.
sudden. But Steph did Steph things. He needed on the last rack. He was only able to miss one of the shots. He missed it with three balls left, so he had hit every single one, and he just nailed them. Nothing but net. The last ball, the net didn't even move.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's Steph Curry being Steph Curry. Shout out to Mike Conley. He put up a really good performance. I think he showed that he belonged in that contest this year because he did better than everybody else did except for Steph. So
Yeah. And once again, like you just mentioned, lost by one. And it took the last, literally down to the last bucket. So
yeah,
apologies to Mike Conley. Although maybe our curse helped you out, man. I'm just saying, like we got a real bad curse. And I'm kind of scared to talk about one of these players that we're gonna talk about later, cause if our curse is real, because yeah, it's not looking good. But
just an update on it too. We talked bad about Kemba, and all of a sudden Kemba is like doing really well now, being the best player on the Celtics. Like over the last few weeks, at least they've won four straight too off the
yeah,
back of his really solid play.
yeah. Then like I remember we talked about like we were critical of Porzingis a few weeks ago, and then like that next night he dropped like 35 and like 15. It's like, oh great, thanks, making us look real good here. Same thing with I think Van Fleet.
We were critical of the Mavericks as a whole, and then they won like six straight. So
It's real, man. Yeah, the curse is real. So getting to the last or the last event, I guess you could say, before the All Star game, happened at halftime. The dunk contest. Once again, like we mentioned, the curse is real. Of all people, I picked Opie Toppin. You picked Cassius Stanley. We'll talk about the dunk in a second. But Anthony, oh, I forgot what the correct pronunciation. I think it was Simons. Anyway, I mean, he was solid, but I felt like, especially Stanley, he got kind of should have gotten more points that first dunk. I was surprised. I didn't realize until like when they showed the scoreboard after they all had one dunk that he only got 44. I was like, that was very surprising to me. I'm not gonna say it was an amazing dunk contest. I'm not. I don't know if he might be in the conversation for one of the worst. But to be fair, COVID, it seems like the players couldn't do much theatrics. That's also part of the dunk contest. But other than that, I mean, I guess good for Anthony Simons. I do like how they do it at the end now. How the judges they just pick a player between the two instead of doing the rating system. Probably after what happened last year with with Mr. Dwayne Wade. So thanks, Dwayne. Sometimes we got to learn from our mistakes. But what were your thoughts on the dunk contest and just any other takeaways?
it's so sad to me because I love the dunk contest. I mean, one of my most fond memories, my all-time favorite player ever is Vince Carter, and I first loved him and like who he was and his play style because of that dunk contest where he won and just greatest dunk contest I've ever seen, probably outside of the Levine Gordon duel, and just because of how long that one went, that one was insane. But um, this year it wasn't exciting. The I can't remember which announcer said it, but one of them was like, "Listen, I'm not impressed. I'm not excited because if you look over at the bench, Zach Levine, LeBron, Zion, all these great dunkers, they're not excited." So like and I think that encapsulated how the fans are feeling too. If the guys who are really good at dunking, they're not even getting that excited. Like how are the fans supposed to get excited about what's going on? So yeah, I mean Cassius Stanley, that first dunk, he definitely got robbed. But then Draymond Green, I don't know if you saw his tweets. He goes, Cassius Stanley got robbed, and then on his next dunk, he goes, and then he robbed himself. Because the first one, I thought the first round at least his dunk was probably the best. He just made it look so easy, but like that's not an easy dunk to go between the legs like he did. Um, Went out there and did it first try. I thought his was the best the first round, but in the second round, he tried to do something really cool like two times, and then he just gave up and did like a basic in-game dunk that like he didn't do anything crazy except kind of cock it back really high. And okay, we get you have a high vertical, but uh, yeah, so he kind of lost it for himself there. And then the other two guys, once again, I wasn't super impressed with. Maybe it's because there was no fans, theatrics, the lack of creativity. I don't know what it is, but it, it's just not as exciting. I don't know. The NBA I think needs to just put more effort into the dunk contest when it comes to like recruiting guys to do it, building up like rivalries or something like that. Because the one thing that has revived it over the past decade was the Zach Levine Aaron Gordon rivalry, and the crazy stuff that they did, and then how Aaron Gordon got robbed, so they had to run it back the next year, and then he got robbed again, so now everybody wants to see him do it again. Anyway, it's yeah, it saddens me that the dunk contest kind of sucks because yeah, that I think I predicted that might be one of the worst ever, and to me it lived up to that potential of being pretty bad.
It's tough. But I mean, like we mentioned before, like you said, I think the biggest thing is just it's just so hard to come up with new dunks, that haven't already been done before. So yeah, it's tough in that way for those that have to participate. But all right,
Which part of that is probably also like on the guys participating. Like there are professional dunkers out there that do some crazy stuff that we have not seen in an NBA dunk contest. So like go hire one of those guys to like teach you some of their dunks. I don't know. Anyway.
yeah, maybe. So anyway, so going to the last, I don't call it event, but the actual All Star game itself. Obviously we had our little draft, and whoever had MVP won. Unfortunately, you did, but and I'm not gonna take that away, but my chances were already diminished before the game started because Embiid, my first pick, Embiid was, and Ben Simmons, one of my later picks, were weren't allowed to play due to contact tracing. So that was a little unfortunate, but yeah, Giannis didn't miss a shot in the All Star game. Made it some tough threes, but once again, not much defense being played, so maybe it's easier to do so. Steph was still Steph, making threes and things like that. But nothing else to really. I mean, there wasn't much else to say on the All Star game. It's pretty much dominated by Team LeBron. I mean, it got to the point when the second quarter where it was just like Steph and Damian were having their own little like half court contest, and it really wasn't really a game. Like I wasn't watching it like I had it on my phone, but wasn't watching it intently because once again it was a blowout. I was just kind of looking, glancing, because it wasn't really competitive. But yeah. Any other thoughts or reactions to that one?
I mean, there were some cool moments like the Steph and Dame stuff you mentioned. Jalen Brown's like corner turnaround fadeaway three was crazy that he hit that. But overall, I mean, it was not an exciting game. I felt like last year it seemed like the rule change made the game a little more exciting. And last year felt like, especially that fourth quarter, they were actually playing defense. This year it was just such a blowout that it was not really a fun game to watch. Which I think I said this in the last episode, but like they should have gave Durant the first pick because if the captain isn't playing, then the team's just naturally at a disadvantage. But
True.
it is what it is. It's not that big of a deal because it's all for charity, and in the end, so all the charities, they got a lot of money. Um, but it would be cool if they could continue to try to make it more competitive. Also, just the one fact that's like going around since then is LeBron is 4-0 as a All Star captain. So whoever else is being the captain against him, y'all got to step it up. That being, I think Giannis and I think Steph did it one year, right? And then
I mean,
Durant.
that was one
Those
of
are
the
the
first
three
ones.
guys.
I think it was Steph and
Yeah,
LeBron like the first 2 years of that, and then last year was Giannis,
yeah.
and then
Which
this
the
year was
Giannis,
Durant.
I remember Giannis. Everybody criticized his draft a ton because on paper he picked like he picked the worst team by far. But that was actually a competitive game. So yeah, I don't know. Anyway, it'd be cooler if they could find ways to make it more exciting. I think they should try to get creative. I know one idea, which this is for the NFL, but one idea I love for the NFL Pro Bowl is have them play flag football because then there's not really a risk of getting hurt, and I think you'd get to see some really cool plays, and they'd really try out there, cool jukes, crazy catches, all that kind of stuff. I don't know how they do that for the NBA. One idea that I had thought of was like, imagine, so you got 30 guys because you do 15 per team. I don't know the exact number they do right now, but I think it's like 15 per side. Maybe it's 14, 13. I don't know. But so you got 30 guys that make the All Star game, however many, and you pick 10 captains and they select teams of three and then they do like a 3v3 seeded tournament or something. I don't know. I feel like that'd be kind of cool. Just to see how things work out that way. I don't think they'll ever do something like that, but it seems like there's ideas out there to make it more exciting because the All-Star game, it is what it is. It's cool that it's for charity, all that kind of stuff, but it'd be really fun if it was actually, exciting and entertaining for the fans to watch too, as opposed to just no defense. You hope that Zion does some cool dunks, and then he comes out and misses three in a row right off the bat, and then it's not exciting anymore.
Yeah. Just I don't know if you remember. Remember when they played with the horse? I think horse was like they had a horse for like a year. I think it was. I'm not sure. I know at least 1 year. I'm not sure they had two. I think like it was like
Yeah,
early in Durant's career. 'Cause I remember Durant was in it. I think John Wall
yeah,
was in it. Um,
I do remember that.
I don't know. Just an idea of that, or like kind of building off your 3v3. Maybe like it's like separate groups of five, like 21,
Yeah,
and then
even that.
playing 21, and then the winner of each of that. If there's what 30, so 15 on each roster. So that's
I don't
I don't know
think
the math.
like the
Anyway,
current setup is actually 15 on each roster, but imagine that. Say they just did full, like they wanted a full court game. You just do 6 teams of five, and then you run a another little tournament there. Whoever the first two guys, like say LeBron and like Durant this year, for example, their two teams would be like the top two seeds. They get bye weeks, a bye round, and then the other four teams, they do get out and then they face and just a tournament. I don't know. I feel like that'd be more exciting than what we currently have, at least.
yeah, and then maybe yeah. I mean, just some ideas for them to play with. Once again, too, it was probably tough for them to get any excitement for this All Star game because I mean some players didn't really want to play in it. Remember,
Yeah,
LeBron had said a few weeks he wasn't about that, and then also like you mentioned last episode, really just no fans there. I think hurt it too, and also because of COVID, they limited. 'Cause usually dunk contest has four. I think 3-point usually has more contestants. Same thing with skills. So I think they just had to make do with what they have. But still,
yeah. Because if you noticed in the 3-point contest, it was all guys who made the All Star game. I believe the skills was also all guys who made the All Star game.
except for
The dunk
Covington.
contest, yeah, except for Covington, which that one still, once again, that was I don't. That's even more confusing. The dunk contest had guys that did not make it, but they did try to limit who was there, and all that stuff. So I cut them some slack for this year, but next year they got to come out with a bang.
Yeah, I mean, I think San Antonio's petitioning for 2024 All Star. So hopefully we get that. And hopefully changes are made by then. But anyway, so that wraps up all the All Star weekend. Sorry, things. But this happened. What I think Sunday morning. It happened over the weekend.